I am Lauren O'Brien, and this is the officially named Black Sheep and Bad Apples podcast. Welcome. Tonight, we've got Sean Hill.
Welcome to do.
Joining us as usual. Thank you for being here and hosting us in your Fourth Corner Studios, which is just...
Plug.
It's gorgeous.
Plug.
Sam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Wait, didn't you just introduce me?
I did not. I mean, technically
Sam.
I did. This is Sam Mitchell.
I'm Sam. Hi, how's it going, everybody?
And then we've got a very special guest tonight, Joe Dacey, with
Special
some
guest.
very exciting stuff to talk about, simply because I don't know anything about it. How you doing, Joe?
Are you doing the fucking
Howdy. I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah?
Sam, you got something to say?
Are you doing the NPR voice?
Oh, I was. I was definitely doing the
all
NPR thing. Anyway, welcome to the show. Tonight we're talking a little bit about... I don't know.
The air in here is fresh.
The only thing I know about what you're bringing to the table, Joe, is that this person may or may not have made the Happy Birthday song.
Oh, she definitely did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so before we touch on that, I just wanted to address some news that I was reading the other day. So China sent a lunar lander to the South Pole of the Moon. Do you guys know about this? And they brought a bunch of stuff to grow on the moon and low to zero gravity. And the only thing that survived was, I believe...
So on the South Pole, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Is that still on the light side or the dark side, or how is...
I couldn't honestly tell you. I assume that it's on, like, when you look at the moon from being here on Earth, that it's on the southern side of, like, what we would see as a map on the southern side, but I don't know.
A pole is like the point of rotation.
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
But I don't know if we can visually see it is the point that I'm making. But I do know that they landed this thing on there, and they tried to grow a bunch of stuff on the moon, and the only thing that survived was cotton. And so what happened is, over the course of 14 Earth days, they were growing this stuff, and a couple of seeds popped, and only one of them was cotton. Or actually, I think only one of them. Anyway, and then they went through like this 40-day cycle of lunar night where everything died negative like 339 degrees. And fucking, it just, everything died. It's a crazy low temperature. So what I wanted to bring up is, do you guys think that this is like the first part to us like growing space resilient seeds?
I thought we were going to talk about making moon shirts.
Or
Clothes made out of cotton made out in space. Like that would be some awesome stuff.
Or
I mean,
moonshine?
That's what I was going to say.
Moonshine.
I think some redneck's going to be like, hit the moonshine first, just because he's like, I got it, like, name brands.
But yeah, like, do you guys think that it's possible that eventually in the next, I mean, I'm going to estimate if we're going to do it, in the next 100 years, we can grow things on the moon?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it depends if you're talking the surface of the moon or the like pods and stuff that happen to be on the moon, where we build our own atmosphere and like be able to have like some sort of, I don't know, hydroponic system or something up there.
Yeah, because I don't think we could ever plant directly into moon soil. There's no fertility, no atmosphere.
I mean, the moon's
so
hollow,
it would
so
yeah.
like we
What?
can't do like.
What?
Wait, what? Like, I thought this was an
moon is
educated
not-
podcast. So,
I see what's
right,
happening
okay,
here.
all right.
All right.
So do you know anything about that? Did they plant, like, did they bring dirt up and make a greenhouse do this?
So they brought dirt up and they built these little terrariums that I don't know how it would work exactly. Like, I can't picture it in my head because it's like there's no gravity in which to grow except for on the moon, which is really low gravity. So like, I don't know how the terrariums look, but apparently, yeah, they brought dirt, they brought water, they brought nutrients, stuff like that, and these little things just popped up through the soil.
So did they create like a chamber though that has oxygen?
Yeah, they created separate chambers for, I think they brought 14 varieties of seeds up there. One of them was like rapeseed. They brought wheat. They brought there's something to do with
Brought
yeast. Like, I don't know. Anyway,
Fascinating.
Yeah, they always do, but they don't ever say it. They like, it's one of those things where they're like, the camera doesn't quite pan all the way
It's
to
just
the end of
like
the road.
halfway through the garden, and it's like, no, we can't
and
go
then
more
it
right.
just kind of stops there. Yeah.
well, and like the thing that they didn't pan into is I was reading this article where that like the Chinese who brought all that shit to the moon, they're like kind of bummed. They were like, oh man, we should have done our original thing. We wanted to bring a tortoise into space.
None of that. No more of that.
Yeah.
Now the thing that pisses
You
me
know how
off the
many
most,
dogs died in space, man?
and that's
crazy.
that's something I want to point out is like,
Russia loves sending dogs in space.
if you're gonna send anything to the fucking moon or to space, why would it be something with these little tiny worm-like fucking arms? Like, we as human beings have these long-reaching fucking things. Like, bring a monkey to space. Bring a fucking cat to space. Bring something like. Well, what I mean to say is they wanted to study the long-term. They wanted to study the long-term effects of like living in space and if it adapt to it. And I'm like, why a tortoise? A tortoise would never adapt to space.
Okay, all right. So we have this tortoise. We send him to space, right? He's going up there. He hits for some reason we lose the ship, enters a wormhole, comes back 500 million years later as an advanced life form, and that's the reptilian overlords that have been coming onto Earth.
They were really tortoises.
Did
They really tortoise us a new one.
Yeah.
Did you just Doctor Who as to why the Chinese didn't send a tortoise to
Yeah,
space?
man. I mean, I'm not saying that's the reason. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
I mean,
Art though.
now
I mean,
he's-
of all the things though, I'm still on like a tortoise.
that's my point.
Like what beneficial data or like I'm trying to figure out the like crucial data. You're like, but then the turtle looked left. You know, like I mean, what are you gonna gain from that? You know, like at least like we were saying, monkeys, which are
Is it?
almost
Oh no, I think they like leave the turtle up there for some amount of time, bring it back to Earth, kill it, dissect it, check out its physiology. How
Yeah.
is it affected?
Yeah, is it just to see if it survives?
Like I'm telling you, most of those dogs didn't die in space. They died on an operating table after coming back down in the capsule.
well, the famous
We
never
like that
deserved
first
dogs.
story, they brought them up there and they didn't even have a way to bring them back down.
And they didn't even
They
bother
didn't even
eating
think
them.
about it. Like, they're like, no, he's up there now.
they just wanted to see if
Yeah,
they could
'cause the
shoot
first-
a turtle into space. It's,
I think it was like the
alright.
first chimp to go into space. They had like a parachute apparatus that they were like, it might work, and then like upon re-entry, it actually worked, and they were able to collect their chimpanzee and whatever data that they had on board. But I think that was the first time the Russians actually were able to successfully do like a into space and then out of space, and something
Re-entry.
lived. Yeah, re-entry.
Successful re-entry maneuver.
Weird.
But again,
Damn
why not?
dirty apes.
Why not? And they do have spiders in space, but why not spiders? Something with like longer digits, because like the way we propel ourselves through space, you got to grab onto this thing and pull yourself in the direction. And like a tortoise is not going to be able to do that.
Well,
That seems
like,
like
they might
bad
be.
planning.
Are you kidding me? Like the whole world sits on a tortoise's back as it fucking swims through space.
True.
Well, and what I was gonna
And so bringing a tortoise to space, I mean, in that context, it actually makes a whole lot of sense. You know what I mean? Like you're just trying to
see what
the
we can
origin.
grow. No, that's what it was.
Yeah,
we
it's
want to
like-
see what we can grow on the back of the tortoises. They,
Right.
they brought the tortoises up into
Oh,
space.
we're
and they were
making
like,
our own universe.
And they were like, we're gonna plant the tortoises in the. Oh, we're gonna plant the cotton
Cosmic
onto the.
motherfucking tortoise, dog.
And they were gonna send that shit out and have it become its own planet.
I think we're just sending stuff out there that if it became sentient, we know we could fight.
yeah. Well,
So, not to interrupt you, Sean, because I want to hear what you have to say, but they also crashed a bunch of water bears or tardigrades on the moon. I think it was the Chinese as well. And they're like, we're going to go back and see what they could do, because if you guys don't know about tardigrades, they can survive the vacuum of space.
They're the world's smallest animal.
It's amazing.
so I was gonna say, with
And they're
that,
not actual bears.
With that in mind, yeah.
Strangely enough.
Weird.
With that in mind, it seems like one of the most relevant things that they're trying to find on other planets is water. And if something can survive in water on another planet, then maybe the harder part is not getting it to the water, not putting it in the water, it's getting it to the water. So maybe they're like, well, let's launch a turtle into space and see if it can even, like, the shell can even handle the G-forces of launching things like that through space, and, like, see if it'll even make it to Mars alive, or the moon for that matter, because it's a lot closer and we can gain data on, like, well, if you can handle the blast and make it to the moon, well, it's an easy ride from there.
Yeah, we can send you to Mars now.
Yeah, and we know
And
water's there. and
That's
like,
makes total sense to bring a tortoise to Mars. Like right off the rip, if I was going to Mars, I'd bring a fucking tortoise.
What? That's you know,
Because it's going to live longer than everybody else.
Yeah,
so you
but
got
also
to
the
study
study
You don't
it
have
out.
to put it in stasis. You can
Right.
just send it straight to.
If you teach
to
the
Mars.
tortoise how to like fly the ship, then everybody else can just nap the whole time too.
you know what? You're right. You're right.
I'm just spitballing what I think are the best reasons why you would fucking want to put a goddamn tortoise in
Yes,
space.
that's truly what's going
I
on.
got a
Whether
good
or not
reason
they're
why.
real reasons.
All right, what do you got, Dacey?
Do you have you guys ever heard of Lonesome George?
have not?
Lonesome George is a specific type of turtle in the Galapagos Islands. That is only one of its species. They look forever to find like another one. They could never find it, so he was Lonesome George. He just lived forever on the Galapagos Islands until he died.
Well, Not-
He's a great candidate for space exploration.
well, and if I remember correctly, Lonesome George actually, that what ended up happening with him is that they brought a bunch of turtles from a bunch of other Galapagos islands, tortoises rather, and they brought them to that island. And for years, like he was just like, I'm not really interested. But then there was one day, it was like a couple weeks before he died, if I'm remembering the story correctly, that they just caught him out there just banging fucking all these tortoises. And what they were
for
doing
him.
was they were trying to find the nearest native tortoise to the Galapagos Islands on this specific island that was native to him. And the only thing they could find was like slight variations, and so they brought that over the thing, and it like now the population is booming back on this island from what I hear, thanks to Lonely George.
yeah.
Yeah,
Have you
so-
guys ever
Like
heard of
Horny
the
George.
Galapagos Affair?
No.
It's a documentary that came out a long time ago about, I think England owned the Galapagos Islands. And so this this crazy scientist dude decides that he's going to go and build a haven in the Galapagos Islands, build the Garden of Eden. He goes down there. I don't remember if he immediately
legit.
loses all his teeth, but he eventually has no teeth. And he's a dentist, and he builds metal dentures. So he's got jaws like in like 007, like big metal
Oh,
jaws.
no.
And it's him and his wife. He convinces his wife to come down there with him, and she hates every second of it.
Well,
But
I mean-
like he eventually like it's horrible. It's like terrible growing conditions. It's all rocky. There's very little soil.
Not to
He
mention you got a grill from like no
Oh.
other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You got a
Yeah,
grill that
That's-
you can
that doesn't
grill
sound
on.
very-
He could bite
Tender.
a tin can. Well, like, but like, all these people started moving there for that wanted this like Garden of Eden lifestyle. And this badass baroness like comes down, and she decides she's gonna build this giant hotel on there. She comes with like 2 of her like boy toys, and like just like back in the time where like none of this happened. She would just be walking around with a whip on one side and a gun on the other, just in dresses, just messing up the whole island. And
Man, I'm
she
getting messed
ends
up over here.
Oh yeah, and like other couples start moving on there, and there ends up being a big affair between the people. I think like
You mean
2
like
of the
a
people end up surviving. Everyone else on the island gets murdered. Like then
Holy
like people
fuck.
just pack up and go. No one knows the actual ending of the mystery. It's one of like they just show up there, and this baroness, all her treasures are just like scattered around. And
Okay, so we're like I want you to send me a link to that, because that's definitely going to be something that's in the future episodes. I want to get to the bottom of this and figure out what the fuck actually happened.
oh,
there.
they have real like they brought a video camera to the island to document it because they thought it was going to be them building Garden of Eden, and
it
it
was
just
just a
ends
bunch
up
of
this
dead people.
monster with like metal teeth. It's just like trying to be a tyrant of his own little kingdom.
Oh, you mean Monster Teeth was just like murdering everybody?
I
Or
think
that's what it seems like?
Just trying to own his
a
own
lot of
village.
people killed a lot of people.
Okay.
Like it was a mix of like I'm pretty sure the wife killed somebody. I'm pretty sure he killed a couple people. I'm pretty sure the Baroness killed a couple people.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's an interesting story.
Anyway, so I want to touch now on your story that's just like, I'm so tantalized by it. Could you give me just a brief synopsis and a synopsis for everybody else listening?
So I came here because I wanted to talk about Patty and Mildred Hill, the Hill sisters.
I like this topic.
So they,
which I thought was originally a couple of sisters who murdered people, but
yeah, it sounds like it.
empirically
And from
incorrect.
my cryptic like viewpoints, like those are the things that I researched the most. But this is more of a public domain issue than anything else.
Oh,
So that's
see.
why I thought it'd be a good issue to bring to a band, because I really thought that I would really like to hear your guys' opinion upon this.
By the way, our band is Merit Parcel.
Plug.
Oh, plug. So they wrote the most popular song in the world, the most popular English song in the world, "Happy Birthday."
No.
It wasn't like Guinness record book. It's like recognized all over the world. Everyone knows the tune. The tune wasn't originally set to "Happy Birthday." It was "Good Morning to All" or something like that. And
That makes
Mildred,
sense, like, good morning
Yeah.
to all.
it really works well.
It could be like a doorbell. Dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun.
So Mildred
Oh, man, I feel
Hill,
like I'd
she's
hate
the
that
one
as a
who
doorbell.
wrote
Oh, it'd be the worst doorbell ever.
Oh, one is here. Dude.
I want the do 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 do. So Mildred's the one who wrote the tune, and Patty, who was a lifelong teacher, she's the one who wrote the words. But this was in the late 1800s.
Would you consider this like one of the first jingles, or well, I wouldn't want to say like maybe not first, but like production jingle type of deal, because they kind of made like a catchy little tune to a little.
Definitely up there. Like I mean, like most songs were like that back in the day, though.
Yeah, that's what I was like thinking.
yeah, without
I
it being
guess
a
most things.
Without
were
it being a
kinda-
jingle, I would say that it was absolutely one of the first like super catchy songs ever that like as a commoner you'd understand, because he couldn't like repeat Mozart or Vivaldi or anything.
Yeah,
like
well,
that.
was there? I guess not to sidetrack too far. Was there a reason why they wrote it?
Not that I've read.
Or-
I haven't heard any like actual stories behind it or anything.
If it was like a contracted song or something. you know what I
Anyway,
mean?
we're getting side.
the
Was
main
it
thing-
contracted or just?
Not that I know of,
Okay.
but the
that's
main
a good
thing that I think about nonstop with this song is they own the copyright, and they've owned the copyright in their trust up till 5 years ago. So it just happened recently that you're allowed to sing "Happy Birthday" as a public domain song.
Wait, so like if we were making a TV show, which a lot of TV shows highlight, they do the whole "Happy Birthday to you." and
You
they
pay.
do the whole song, but they
they're
skip the
paying.
last word.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is I know a lot of episodes of TV shows that have skipped the last word just because they're like, otherwise we have to pay. You're
There's-
telling me now you don't have to pay.
Exactly.
That's beautiful.
And that was also the reason why if you go to chain restaurants, they'd have that like happy birthday, like all of those like weird
the
yeah,
clapping
that they have to
thing.
make, because these two miserable old shrews held onto this copyright, even though it is one of the most popular songs in the world. They wouldn't let it grow popularity because they wanted to squeeze out every drop of money that they possibly could out of it. And they died, and the
Penniless.
family still no,
God.
they were very loaded,
Yeah.
and all of their family just held on to it. I think about this is something I think about a lot,
When you got a
because
golden goose, you don't give it to everybody in town.
I wonder if they had the like thought back. So they're like, "What monster have we created?"
or was the other end of it where it was like, we've created this minecart of money bags, and like let them keep rolling into us, and we don't have to do any, like they don't have to do anything any more work because they already wrote the song, and like now when you sing
So
it,
do you know when this was wrote?
this was it was like I think 1904. Like I had the dates, I forget what it is now, but it was so long ago that they I think it was the World's Fair. They were recognized as like great composers and songwriters.
wait, do they have
the
other songs?
1912 World's Fair.
Do they have other songs?
No, this is the only
So,
one they have.
one-hit wonder.
Yeah, this is the
They're the first one-hit wonder. Is
Oh,
what I'm
that-
hearing.
yeah, pretty much. And it's a song
No.
that it's so like brought into our collective consciousness that like everybody like sings it. Everyone knows the song before they're 10.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like a household name
Yeah,
type of deal. or
it
a
would be like if
household
the
song.
like the guy from Jingle Bells.
Yeah. It's like if he was like, I want my money, and you can't sing it unless I get my coin.
yeah. It's
No,
like he
all
tried
right,
to trademark the
Ebenezer.
word Christmas and make everyone else use Xmas. Well,
Yeah. Well, and so So they put a patent on it way back in like 1904. We'll use this as an
Yeah,
example.
I think, like,
But they put
kinda
a
remember
patent
that.
on it at the time because
Copyright.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Copyright. That for one fascinates me because most people back then probably weren't all that like legally.
Yeah, that was a
engaged.
process. You know, it still is a
and
process.
so like
now,
people
but-
back then had to like go to a lawyer and be like, "Hey, I wrote this thing," and like the lawyer was like, "Well, we can do this thing with it that makes it this thing called copyright," and like these women had the foresight to just go and do this.
Well, I guess you'd have to look back at dates I don't know on the history, but how long the Library of Congress has been around. Because more or less since the Library of Congress has been the library, there's been copyrights. Once something goes into the Library of Congress, it's copyrighted.
Yeah, and if you guys here are listening and can correct me, or if you guys here in the studio can correct me, I think it's like 35 years or 45 years or something like that before something becomes public domain. And so, like, my curiosity is like
So
as
they
to how
kept
this.
it up.
Unless,
Yeah, like
unless you put it into a trust, which gives it different.
I see.
Trusts are. I'm not a lawyer. I don't really understand
Oh, you're
trusts,
not.
but they have these like extra. I don't know, like extra powers with all these sorts of things, like taxes and copyrights and.
It's kind of like incorporating a company is the way I look at it, because you put it like under a board.
That makes
is
sense.
More than a corporation or a group of people own this or a company.
But a
rather
trust
than,
is like an entity.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It
Yeah, it's like,
becomes
he's saying it's like creating a corporate
Like a-
entity that now has possession over this item or this whatever.
Yeah. Anyways,
So when I was like 12 or 13, there was the Kazaa and LimeWire like boom that happened, and I still am a very big fan of Frank Zappa. So I figured out how to download his discography, and it took me 4
Completely
days.
legally.
Oh yeah, legally. And,
You can't see the air quotes, but he air quoted legally.
I got a cease and desist order from the Frank Zappa Trust. They sent me a letter saying that they were going to sue me if I continued to download his music illegally.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was my start with like thinking all of this is a very weird kind of whole issue, and like because of that I wasn't allowed to use the computer for 3 years.
Wait, like legally speaking?
No, from my parents.
Oh, okay. So
you got
they were
grounded.
just terrified.
Yeah,
Like,
grounded.
get like a real letter from a lawyer, then all of a sudden some real rules come down hard on you.
oh
And I'm
my!
like,
I remember.
Well, yeah,
when-
and they're legally responsible for your actions. So
Oh,
they
yeah,
can be
they
held
were getting
accountable.
sued.
Right, they were getting sued.
No, I
not
remember.
you.
I remember my
You got
parents went through
nothing.
the same thing when Napster and like a bunch of those old download sites before they started charging. What made all the rules and all that stuff. Man, yeah, it was like the family was on there, pops knew the computer, all that stuff. And we had all this stuff. We were sitting there just running it for a while, and then it was like, then we started seeing the news. Then we started seeing how the people were getting letter and talked to.
You mean
and-
how Metallica was suing
Yep.
everybody?
well, but no, there is
I
a bunch of
blame
companies
their,
out there that do that
therapists,
stuff,
but-
and so he's same thing. He shut it down. He was just like, nope, not happening on this computer, not in this house. I'm not going to. We're not going down for
Not
this.
going to prison because you're stealing music.
Yeah. And then lo and behold, I ended up becoming a musician, and so I'm like,
yeah, I do understand, and like that's a part of it. That's the reason why I would like to talk to you guys about that, because this is like. I feel like up to a point, it's very reasonable. It's your art, like it's something you should hold on to. It's something that should be copyrighted and patented, and but there's got to be limits, and there's got to be like a
after, like,
time where it just
105
becomes into the collective consciousness.
Well, there are.
Well, and after like
that's
105
like,
years,
it became public domain 5 years ago, or like any of the songs that we wrote 2 years ago in 43 years,
give or take.
will
Unless
become,
you put it in a
unless
trust.
we put it in a trust or do something more with it, become public domain. And like when it comes to like patents and things where you're not just like art or words or music, but like actual physical objects that you've invented, those patent laws, and when the patent becomes public domain, and like those things are really convoluted and complex, and like there's all sorts of ways to like run a patent that keeps it in your possession for a lot longer than if you just, I patented my idea. Here's my patent at the patent office.
See, I think that's the difference between copyright and patent, though. Patent is like,
No.
excuse me, patent is like copywriting a method of doing something or a way of producing something, whereas
More like an invention is for.
yeah. Whereas like a copyright, if I'm understanding correctly, is like I made this this jingle, I made this thing.
It's
this,
more words.
this
or
artistic,
literature.
Yeah, that's what I
yeah.
said.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
But that's just what
That's
I'm
why I was like, when you were
theorizing.
saying for the song, like patent's not really the correct, like.
Yeah,
You would
exactly.
patent something that made the song, the piano or something like that. But you, when it patents the song, you would copyright that. and
right. I
it's-
invented this musical instrument.
Yeah.
So you can
that's
patent
on
the
the-
instrument,
Patent the instrument.
but you
Yeah.
can't patent the music that comes out of it. You can copyright
Copyright
that. I would assume. I don't know.
No, I'm pretty sure that's correct.
Yeah.
And if you have any other info, please send your comments and suggestions to.
We're
PO Box
probably at this
364.
point looking for a lawyer.
I mean,
This
if we-
is all just scripted, and we stole it from somebody. So this is copyrighted from somebody.
and
else.
honestly, if we don't get sued in the next 6 months,
Pure
I'm going to be kind of
plagiarism.
disappointed.
We really
'Cause
gotta
we've
hire
been-
new writers.
Well, and we've been saying
This
like,
is-
it's
fuck
insane
Hobo
the whole
Johnson
writer
for
team we
so
have
long.
upstairs. So.
yeah.
Can't believe they get anything done.
So
Yeah, it's pretty surprising.
how did like? So Ron was telling me a little bit about this. By the way, Ron, fuck you for not being here.
Yeah,
Actually, I'm gonna-
boo to
I want
Ron.
to address
Plug.
this real quick. Ron told me earlier, he was like, "Hey, I'm not gonna be able to make it to the show," and I was like, "That's cool. What's going on?" And he's like, "I got quote unquote baby duty,"
I'll go
and I was like, "You don't have baby duty, bud. You've got a kid. Like you've got to adult, and it's fine that you can't make it. I'm sure the baby doesn't like drinking and talking into it. Although maybe she would make a good podcast interview. Anyway, I'm sure she doesn't like smoking and drinking as much as we do, so it makes sense. But he was like, "I'm sorry, dude. I'm so sorry." And so like, I just wanted to shout out to Ron, like, you don't have to apologize for having a child. You're a grown ass dude.
You have to apologize to me.
Yeah,
I do want to call him out too, because he had no idea the world of burning CDs, and he made me feel real old trying to explain that
wait,
to him. the
wait,
other day.
okay. No, we're gonna explore that real quick.
Yeah,
He did not have.
I was explaining to him LimeWire and Napster and like that whole world, and like he
And
had
then he
Well, so
lost.
you
He
can't just
lost you at
iTunes
the
it?
burning part.
yeah.
At. All right, like that was like a hustle back in high school. That was like we had burn CDs, and it was like, yo, here, I'll give you one for free. Tell me the songs you like. If you like this style mix, I can hook you up with another one, $5 a disc.
Oh yeah, for me
And
it was,
it was
like,
just, like,
in
flipping
between
them
each
out,
song
like-
you'd have like a Saturday Night Live skit and like weird little comedy like skits
Oh,
in
yeah.
between each song.
almost-
I love doing that.
I always did straight albums where it was like, I'd be talking to my friend who did the Napster or whatever LimeWire thing. It was like, "Hey, I want that, I want the next Maroon 5 CD." And be like, "I got you, man. You
We
want like
can't be
front to back the whole CD?" And it's like, "Yeah, man."
No, I had
totally
one
do.
friend I'd go over to, and he had like basement room in his mom's place with a cool computer and all the stuff. We could download
He had like
there.
the
We could-
webcam and
yeah,
like.
oh yeah, well, yeah, it's
the detached webcam.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
but that was the like, yo, you let me know what albums you want, I got you type of deal. And I could get full albums there from him. I could mix it if I wanted to and stuff. But then it was like, you could go to school and people would hustle you like, yo, what you need? You're like, all right, give me some Rancid, give me some like 2 Blink-182 songs, but like off the old albums, not the new ones.
Yeah, like
Don't
take
give me
off
that.
the pants and
bro.
jacket. Like that's
Yeah.
the oldest I want to go.
Give me that shit, and I'm cool with that. Then, honestly, let's see. I want one Zebra Head. I need a couple Primus.
Did you ever ask for any Hobo Johnson?
No, never.
Yeah.
I would
No.
never.
Why do you guys think that is?
I don't know. It's kind of like fuck Hobo Johnson,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, like,
It's.
Hobo
I mean,
Johnson.
there was just
Yeah,
always
I
that
like
beef
I like
there.
Left
That
Foot
was-
Larry.
Yeah, left foot Larry's much better than Hobo
Yeah,
Johnson.
yeah.
The Hobo Johnson's kind of like if you were to like.
Wait, do we say?
Oh, that's a
plug?
real dude. I remember him now.
I thought he was
know.
made up, but
Plug.
like,
Plug?
He's not good.
I don't know.
no, like Hobo Johnson is like if you were to take a carbon copy. You guys remember that carbon paper from back in the day?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hobo Johnson is like a carbon copy of Left Foot Larry,
Oh.
and I don't actually know if he is. I'm just following what Joe said.
Yeah, he's a good old
I
Left Foot
just don't
Larry.
like his name.
Left Foot Larry.
No, Hobo Johnson.
Oh yeah, it's
fucking
racist. Well,
and
wait,
repetitive.
statusist.
Classist.
Classes.
There we
is the
go.
term
That's a
you're looking
word.
For, yeah.
Yeah.
Classist is the word you're looking.
Statisticist.
Oh,
Statusist.
I do
We
have
use
to.
good statistician.
I do have to
and
bring
the
up.
word
no,
of the day.
I do have to bring up, seeing how we're gonna just Hobo Johnson for a second here. I'm at my local bar, right down here, having a good time the
Oh,
other night,
I
shooting
was
a
there
little
for that.
pool, hanging out with the friends.
Oh, don't get yourself worked up again.
No, and then I look
worked
I
up.
look over at the jukebox, the AMI jukebox plug.
Plug.
Right on the bottom, what do I see? An
no.
advertisement for who? Hobo Johnson.
Motherfucking
And I was
Johnson.
like, you motherfucker, in my hometown, at my local bar.
You know what I
I
have to say
can't-
about that? Fuck Hobo
Hobo
Johnson.
Johnson.
Well, the one thing I had to say about that is he pays for all that. Like you can't it's not like somebody being like, oh, I'm a big fan of Hobo Johnson, I'm gonna like sponsor an ad. Like no, he was just like, you know what? All these jukeboxes all over here. Here's $10,000. Put my name on it every once in a while. Like that's douche.
You know what? And it's superfluous. It's like, why you gotta rub it in our face?
Yeah, that's all like. It could be Merritt Parcel
I
in there,
think
but
he-
no, it's
I
got to
think
be
he
Hobo
knows.
Johnson.
But no, we don't
I think
make
he
tens
knows
of
he got
thousands
beef,
of dollars.
and he's just trying to antagonize you.
Yeah,
That's
no,
exactly what I think. I think
that's
he's
what
doing
I'm
it to
saying. I
get-
think he
get
purposely
on purpose.
he looked up
He's
Hayfork
heard our
and he
podcast.
was
How petty a person do you have to be to spend that kind of money just to get under somebody's skin?
And you know,
Like,
he's
really,
Hobo
you
Johnson
need
petty.
some
That's what it
fucking
is.
kids.
You can tell that he's heard our podcast and he's just trying to get back at us now.
Yeah. Stop
That's what like
stalking
you
us.
can really like say
Hobo
his whole
Johnson.
career is
Obsessing.
that.
Quit obsessing. Yeah, that's exactly right. Guy's such a weirdo.
Oh man.
Yeah, just making concerts out in the backyard with a bunch of people that like seemed like they're not really enjoying it because they're not smiling. But then you
Ooh,
think
dude,
about the
Hobo
music, and the
Johnson
music's
thing.
kind of sad. So
But it's like sad in a good way.
yeah, yeah.
All right,
like I'm
enough-
sad for
enough of
him.
this. Enough of this sad Hobo Johnson bullshit. Moving on. Next topic.
Oh.
Oh, look who we got here.
Next topic. Here it is. The dogs
That's
bark.
just-
All right, the
and
dog
That's
doorbell.
just the doggy
Taylor,
doorbell.
Taylor is
thought you were switching to Saturdays.
is
We're
about
we're
is about
switching
the
to
building.
Saturdays this weekend. We're being pieces of shit right now.
Is that gonna be like an official?
I mean,
Are we switching to Saturdays?
yeah, officially.
Are you dropping this on the audience right now?
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Is this an official
Yeah,
announcement? The
I-
podcast is moving to Saturday, which will most likely mean released on Sunday.
yeah.
Because we do record right now on Wednesday, release on Thursday.
And you know what? If we're gonna be on the topic, let's talk about it. I can't get nearly as drunk on the show as I want to, with band practice being right afterwards. So like, yeah, Saturday
Yeah,
seems like
that's
a
a true
good
story.
thing. So like, we can get just raunchy and awful. We can make the podcast longer if we want to. if
Could we
that's
do the
something-
next one at my
Not-
spot during the day?
I mean, yeah, we can do it.
Well,
anywhere
we'll talk
we
it
want
over.
to.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
The one thing I was going to suggest and why I kind of say maybe is we do record Saturday if we're going to start this. Record Saturday night starting at, let's say, 6:30. And
Oh, we
we
gotta-
do want to invoke having some callers call in on some of these topics. So if you...
So are you gonna give out your phone number officially? Because like, well, we got to. So we've got a show on Saturday, so we've got to do this beforehand. And so if we want to give people times and dates to call in, now's your chance.
Oh,
How are they?
But
gonna
you're also
hear
the only
us?
one
We're not
pushing
live.
doing this like live conversation thing, and it seems kind of intrusive to me. So
and
like,
the logistic talk is very interesting.
yeah, I'd say.
And that's why we chose Joe as our guest.
Oh
this week.
yeah.
I'll
By the
shoot
way,
down
Joe-
those planes when I see them, man.
Yeah,
But by the way, Joe, you're gonna be on here a lot more than I hope you know.
Oh, I'm down.
Dude. You are. Fuck, I'm so excited to have
Ron,
you
you're
on tonight.
fucking fired.
Fuck you, Ron.
Plug.
Talking about Ron, I did send
Plug.
him another piece of information on a
He
very
doesn't know what to do
interesting
with that
topic.
shit.
Do
What?
tell.
Jeff the mongoose.
Jeff.
Jeff
Now,
the
it's-
mongoose.
This is a quick story,
Oh Jesus.
and
Just
we're getting to Halloween, so I wanted to have a little bit of a scary story
gonna be
to bring in
spooky.
everything. It's a little
edgy.
get you a little bit.
You guys can't see this, but he's doing this thing with his eyeballs. He's like, it's all
Yeah, they're going in and out, really cool like. So Jeff the mongoose was a
Huh. Interesting.
So,
in 1913. The Irving family found a baby mongoose in their house that could talk.
bullshit.
I'm calling bullshit.
The mongoose said he was from New Delhi, India.
Racist.
He was born in 1852. He said he was an earthbound spirit, a ghost in the form of a mongoose, and once said, "I am a freak. I have no hands or feet. If you saw me, you'd faint. You'd be petrified, mummified, turned to stone or a pillar of salt." And they became friends with this mongoose.
I am so fucking just like I am beyond myself with this
So
story
this
already.
is a mongoose that lived in the walls of this house for up to 50 years with this family.
What?
They had
No.
tons of stories of it, like being in the cabinet, popping its head out, and like hanging out with them and
Having a-
closing the cabinet.
Having a
Mongoose.
conversation.
Yeah, just like a crazy little
Talking.
mongoose that would talk to him and everything.
You mean a mongoose like a very aggressive mammal?
Like those things that rip off cobras' heads
Yeah,
and like eat
yeah,
them.
like Ricky Tikki Tavi or Tavi or whatever his name was. Which I love. That was one of my favorite movies as a kid for whatever reason.
So
I mean, I kind of believe it.
yeah, like
I think if you
there
ran
are
into a
these,
mongoose that was talking, you'd make friends with it because I think it's going to be just as interested in actually talking with something else that can speak like it can.
especially
it's
someone
gonna be
that's
like,
not
wait,
freaked out.
What?
Well,
I understood that.
So
You
wha-
understood me, and that's gonna be like, I don't know if I should kill you because maybe I need to learn some things, But keep
So-
your distance. I'm gonna be in the wall.
Was this like telepathy that they spoke?
no,
or
they
just-
said that you could hear it throughout the house. Plenty of people have heard it, and that it was
Plenty of
like
people have heard it.
it would be room specific. So like it liked to hang out in the kitchen a lot. So like that's where they would mainly hear it talking.
So again,
what year?
having called bullshit, do you think this is like a Ouija?
1914?
Do you think this is like a Ouija board effect where it's like everybody's like,
I mean,
"Oh,
I
it's
would-
speaking to us.
Honestly, I'd need to like go and
Hang out with
examine the
the-
fucking house to see like
I
where
gotta s-
the little pipes and speakers are, and like there's some kid up in the attic
I'm
fucking
just- yeah.
gaslighting the fuck
That's what-
out of
Rack it up.
everyone who comes over.
That's what I was
The whole
thinking. There's-
family's just gaslighting the
there's
world.
some can-
No, it really talks. If you hang out in the kitchen, you'll hear it.
Running up real quick. And it'd be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, and then Timmy's in the fucking attic, like, I love crackers. Like,
yeah,
coming
you
out of
hear
tin
that the
pipe.
mongoose loves
Yeah.
I love that. That's what this mongoose is saying. Is
That's
like,
what I'm like,
I
Ti-
fucking have
Timmy-
a clue what a mongoose would
no,
say.
that's what I'm saying. Timmy's in the rafters though, and he's just like imitating this mongoose, and he's like, "I love crackers. Please feed me chicken of the biscuit or whatever the fuck they're.
See, that's-
I like Ritz." Like it seems like exactly what you're saying is that like there's probably a kid in the.
some reason I'm trying to
Like
picture
some
chicken and
speakers.
biscuit
yeah,
in
what
1914.
were the things that I want to know what this fucking mongoose would talk about?
No, but
Yeah,
what,
like,
what I'm guessing is
How's a
that there's,
mongoose
like
live
you
50
said,
years?
there's some kid up in an
I
attic.
don't know,
He's
how
got
long does
like
a fucking mongoose live?
he's got like 8
Tortoises
tin
live
cans
hundreds
hooked to
of years.
strings that are going to each room with a
Right,
like a thing,
yeah.
so he could just like and then it just becomes like a
And,
joke. type
and
of
literally
deal,
every room in the house has a mongoose in the closet or something.
yeah.
They're like, "This is Geoffrey" or whatever the
He's,
fuck
you
his
can't
name
see
was.
that he can't see that he's shackled inside the hole, so
It's
he
like-
can only come out like part way.
This is so
And there's
sad
like-
and so
he's
funny.
like a hand puppet. Or
There's
a
like
kid's
some
just like-
and like little Sally's there, like sticking a stick through the back of the cage to make him go out the hole, and he's like doing this, and the fucking kid. I'm just saying. I call bullshit on this
What I-
talking.
what I
So
want
the
is-
last little wrench in this whole story was the Irving family left their house in 1945 after the death of James Irving. So they sell the house to Leslie Graham, an actor who bought the farm, and he claims he killed Jeff. As soon as he
Wait,
walked,
but Leslie Graham, like, what was that sitcom?
You're talking about Frasier.
Frasier.
I don't think it's that.
I don't think so.
That's
no.
way
Because this
older
is
than
46. So
Oh, right. It was his dad an actor?
I mean, probably.
But he did take a picture of it. He claims that the mongoose died in 1946. He has a black and white picture of him holding the famous mongoose that was Jeff. But then the Irving daughters come out and say that it is not Jeff and that the mongoose is still alive, running around. Do 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 do.
Wait, say
So
that again?
this definitely wasn't Tales from the Crypt material.
Why does Tales of the
but-
Crypt have to be scary? It's a monster that lives in the walls. Not all monsters are bad.
It's not a
It's-
monster. It's
it's
just
a
a fucking
mongoose.
mongoose.
if it's talking, it's a monster.
But wait,
I'm on both sides of the story because, like, yes, it is a monster. It's a fucking mammalian creature who is not a human who can speak. I'm assuming Hindi. I don't know.
No, he spoke English.
English.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, he's
so-
from New Delhi. He spoke English.
Okay,
which
so-
totally
so-
makes sense.
Yeah,
too.
that makes so much sense. So the other end of it is that like he's just a fucking demon. Like he's like this possessed ass
Why has he got
mongoose.
to
Or
be
like
a demon? Why couldn't he be like a forest sprite type entity?
An earthbound spirit.
yeah, like,
honestly, because if you get any creature that's not a human speaking English or any other fucking linguistic language, which is repetitive, I don't know why I said
He
that.
was friendly.
But,
so
but
why
if you
we
get,
got to call him a monster?
If you get an animal that's talking, just in general, like that sounds like a dangerous thing.
Any talking animal is thusly a monster.
Yeah.
So every human is
A monster. Yeah.
I'll get
with you
behind
on
that. I'll
Yeah,
get
yeah,
behind
no,
that.
I'm into
You're
it.
Fuck
not-
people.
yeah.
And what was this mongoose's name?
Jeff. And it's
Jeff.
Gef.
Oh,
So like the douchiest way to spell Jeff.
No, the
Hey,
douchiest way to
that's
spell
how my
Jeff is
dentist
G
spells
O
his-
E F.
Yeah, that's true.
Goeff. Geoff. It's like, why don't you go Geoff yourself?
I don't know what
That
the.
was terrible. I don't know.
Geoffrey.
So something we brought up yesterday, no, the day before yesterday is changing topics, work at a nursery, and I get molasses all over myself. And so
Not a baby nursery.
Sean, yes, it is a
Plant
baby
nursery.
Sean and it's a place where we sell dirt and plants.
Baby
That-
molasses.
That's all it is.
A whole different thing.
Yeah, baby molasses is
Gross.
really disgusting.
Whenever you guys are done.
No, continue your story. We're fascinated by it.
Fascinating.
Yeah, let's hear more about dirt.
And so I showed up on the back porch of the cafe, which is a place that we hang out frequent.
That's
And
very interesting.
and I'm hanging out with Sean over here and Ron.
Who's not here? Plug.
Yeah, plug. Fuck you, Ron.
Plug.
Unplug.
And so, since I've got molasses on my pants, these two decide to name these. What was it? I got my notes. Sugar britches.
Yeah.
Sugar bitches.
Sugar britches.
And then somehow along the conversation of sugar britches, we came across this idea. And I don't know why somebody plugged it, but it was like, and I'll read to you from my notes. If you were on a boat and had to eat something for survival, your options are Ron and his sweaty, ass-smelling, ball-awful fucking pants, or his shorts, rather, or my glucose-encrusted jeans. Which would you eat? And there was a handful of people that were like, I'd rather eat Ron's thing. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
Who said that? Who said they wanted to eat Ron's shorts?
Put them on blast.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like I should have.
We got called these dangerous fucking heathens out.
Yeah, but in the scenario, it's like the scenario is like you're on a
Grab those pitchforks and torches.
Let's
All right.
You're on like a pirate
the
boat.
crew.
You're on like some boat from like just after the Renaissance, and you're sailing around. It's like, oh, we don't have any food anymore. Like, what are we gonna eat? And it's like, oh, what's up, sugar britches? Or Ron's bullshit sweat laden fucking pants.
shorts.
So-
Shorts, keep in mind. So
Shorts.
I do want to bring up a. Ooh.
Are we talking about who would taste better, Lauren or Ron? 'Cause
I-
that's
no,
where
I
I'm
I'm
think-
at
talking about the
now.
taste of pants.
Yeah,
That's why it
yeah,
I mean,
bothers
but
me.
because
I-
like clearly, if you were actually going to cannibalize them, like
I think
Ron
I'd go
is
Ron.
Ron
Yeah,
is
like-
the like maybe the meat's a little sour from chems or whatever, but like
It also is super salty
I mean, but
because he's
meat
made
and
of sweat. Let's like,
yeah, but
Yeah.
meat and salt go well together. Like roasted Ron, like spit
I
roasted
think
Ron,
it wouldn't be
probably
bad.
a lot better than like oven baked Lauren.
I said,
I'll definitely
Especially
agree
when
to
you
that.
say it like that.
Like I'm not like a prime piece of steak. I do not take care of myself. I do not eat whole grains and flush
Oh, I'm
yeah,
calling
for
you
a,
a slab of
for a
meat, all right.
vegetarian, you
Ooh,
are
are
super
you hitting on
unhealthy.
me?
Ow, ow.
Anyway,
we should leave it to a listener poll.
dude,
that-
which would you rather
If you were
eat?
if you
Which
were
host would
yeah,
taste the better?
if you were stuck on a pirate ship or a ship sailing over the seas for way too long and you had
Cannibalize.
to start eating clothes like leather boots
why
or
does it gotta
something.
be closed? Let's make it real interesting.
Because we're not trying to eat people.
No, we're not
yet.
trying to eat the
Like,
people
the
yet.
idea-
We're just starting. We got to. So the
I don't
it's
think
a,
you get the nutrients you want. I think it would end up being like it just wouldn't be worth it in the long run.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
that's
mean,
why I'm like I don't feel like you should
obviously,
eat a
but-
bunch of
Just go right for the thigh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Come here, sugar thigh.
Yeah, if that molasses was just like glazing your thigh a little bit,
Yeah,
like
molasses
woo-hoo.
is like a key ingredient to most barbecue sauce. So
So who would you eat first, Ron or Lauren?
Yeah,
I mean, Ron.
Is that the question?
Let's
No,
take
I
it
was-
to the
Ron,
goal.
and then I would like force feed
No,
Lauren
like listener-
Ron,
listener
like, fucking
question.
Foie gras geese until he plumped a little. Which I
Well,
mean might
I
look
would like
funny
to-
because it's
I-
probably just going to be like this weird little like fucking
Basketball
gut
in the
and like
stomach.
nothing else or like fat ankles or something. I don't know.
No, I would like to think that the reason that we're eating Ron first is because I would make a brilliant tactician. I feel like I know the ways of the.
I
Yeah,
think-
you
I
don't know
think-
shit, Junior.
I think purely it'd be because he didn't show up to the podcast. Today.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually,
Hey,
oh
that's
yeah, he can't
exactly
defend
it.
himself, so
Hey.
he's definitely the
By the
No,
way, Ron-
that's not like so. Ron,
If you're
you're
listening,
getting Barbied up.
we are eating you
first.
first.
Tomorrow.
You are gonna be our main course on the long dinner party that is to cannibalism.
Oh, so if we're doing a long dinner party though, like Lauren would make a great appetizer, like the
Or,
moose
I would
bouche,
disagree. I would think that I would make a very good dessert. Like it's a
Like,
Oh, now he gets all.
main-
Now he
I
gets
eat a
all
lot of fruits and
sweet on
vegetables, so
himself.
there'd be a lot of like
main
sweetness
dish,
to it.
but like
Ah.
you gotta treat them like brisket.
yeah,
know,
like
like,
slow cook until the
Low and
meat just
slow,
falls off the
whereas
bone.
Ron, Ron, you just like
You'd throw them on a grill.
you treat
Well,
him like a suckling.
Everyone
pig, 'cause
knows.
that's
Yeah,
kind of what he
well,
is.
everyone knows that like when you eat, like cook a human, it's like cooking pork.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that long pig. Like, that's what you're
Yeah.
looking for. So like you can get really sick if you don't cook it all the way through.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
so that's very important. You want like a slow cook, something that will go all day. Like
So if you were stranded on an island, who would you want to get stranded? I'm gonna ask you this right now. Who would you want to get stranded on?
I mean,
that was a
if I'm
terrible
getting
line.
stranded
no. Here's the question: if you were going to
someone?
get stranded on an island and you had to
Pick one
kill
person.
somebody,
Oh no! See,
no. Here,
Yeah,
so
okay.
here's the thing. Hear me out, like all the way out. So if you got stranded on an island and you had one person that could land on you, that could either or land on the island with you, that could either provide you with really good ideas to help survive, or somebody you fucking hate that you would just eat immediately or use them as like so the reason I bring this up is because somebody was like, yeah, I'd get stranded on an island with my worst enemy so I could turn them to chum and be able to feed off of that.
No, so I thought about this the other day, and I was like, if I ever get
I thought that was brilliant.
deserted on an island, and you could have one thing. You know, the old question: if you were deserted on an island in the sun, what's the one thing you would want and stuff? And I was like, I'd want a vegan. Not only are they resourceful, useful, they do good work for a while. But they eat all like berries and stuff like that. So by the time they're
Ready to
actually
die.
weak and
like
all this,
grass-fed.
yeah. And I'm actually got to start, taking control of the situation. I'm like, oh, look, there's not enough for the both of us. That's like some grass-fed beef right there. And I'm just like, sorry, back to the cannibalism thing. I'm like, I'm going to have to eat you.
You're not going to eat me because you're vegan.
And,
Yeah, that's
like,
very
you're too
green of you.
soft.
That's
Yeah.
a green answer. I like it.
That's what I'm like.
Yeah.
But then you get a bunch of you get a whole bunch of resourceful things before that.
So Sam, the same question. Like, if you had one kind of person to be trapped on an island with, who would it be? Whether or not you could eat them or not.
Yeah, I don't really know. Probably someone smarter than me who somehow wanted to have sex with me and was an attractive woman who knew how to like hunt,
I was just
But didn't
thinking
eat-
how we haven't
didn't
brought
eat
up that
meat.
yet.
so that there was never the worry that she
They-
would kill and eat me.
She just likes to kill and feed you.
Right? Yeah.
So
And
you
like,
want- no,
I'm
she-
good
That
at-
sounds like a girl that's gonna eat you.
Yeah, probably.
She's like, keep eating this meat.
No, I
plump
don't
up.
think I'd want to be trapped
How-
on.
No,
an
I won't
island
trim
with
the
any-
fat off.
I don't think I'd want to be trapped on an island with anybody. To be honest, I'd
She's
rather-
just gonna wait
what
till
about
your
Mrs.
arteries.
Parcel over there?
little man. I would want my dog.
Marilyn Parcel.
Yeah,
honestly.
Marilyn Parcel. That's who I would want to get. She's getting kind of cute.
That's
on me.
like Wilson.
Have you seen, I forget
a
the name of
mannequin,
it now,
you know
but
what I
have you
mean?
seen
Like-
that new?
She ages well.
Have you guys seen that new movie with fucking Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter?
Yeah, Swiss
Yo,
Army Man.
A Swiss Army Man. That's the
I
name of
love
it.
that movie.
Dude, that is such a trippy ass movie. I want to get to asking you the same
Oh,
question.
that movie is mess, dude.
Dude, it's like the dude the guy who survives rides him like a fucking jet ski using like the gaseous the decaying gas within his asshole. Just ride like the dude farts and he just rides him like a fucking dude. It's ridiculous.
And his erection is a compass towards true love.
Oh yeah, I
That
forgot
was the
about
craziest
that. Dude.
part.
That was
It
such a
was
good.
so weird.
That was a good
Honestly,
movie.
it was a good movie, but it was super weird. Like there was one scene where the main dude dresses Daniel Radcliffe up as a woman and falls in love with the woman that he is, and then when Daniel
See
Radcliffe,
that.
mind you, Daniel Radcliffe is dead throughout this entire
Yeah,
movie.
totally dead.
Yeah, and so he falls in love with Daniel Radcliffe's dead corpse dressed up as a crush that he had on a bus. Like
Oh, spoiler alert.
Oh man, it's spoilers. Man, it's
Spoilers.
It is something to behold. Anyway,
right.
Joe, if you were stranded on an island with one like tool, utensil, or person who is that you could utilize to eat or build shit for you,
Or both.
Who do you think? Who do you think it would be?
I think that. You brought up a good point with with bringing little man. It's very hard for me not to say bringing my dog. Like that would be a very.
Really, I think I'd rather the dog than anybody else. Like any other person there is just it's gonna become an issue.
it's
Gonna become an issue.
no matter who it is. Eventually, I'd be pissed with them. But like if I'm I think I'd have the same problems I have right now, where I'd just be like, I kind of just want a girlfriend out there. Like, we can both survive out in
Yeah,
the woods.
right up until she's pregnant on a fucking deserted island.
Are you
and
kidding
there's
me?
no
That you
doctor.
could eat that kid.
No, they do it in the wild. They do it in the wild.
Yeah,
There's known apex predators that like when
Yeah,
not
but-
apex, but they'll just give
Alright.
up their fucking kid and be like, I can make
super
another
easy
one.
for a bunch of dudes to sit around like, yeah, fine, we'll just eat the baby. Well, yeah, but there's like it takes like 10 months to make a fucking baby, so
Yeah.
I don't know that the
I mean, the
caloric
one thing we
payoff,
have is a
Yeah, the
bunch of
caloric
time.
payoff
the
is not
caloric payoff
significant.
for her is terrible if she even just eats everything. Like literally like catches it all. Like the whole everything that comes out of her baby, placenta, all the fluid, all the blood, catches all that and reconsumes it. She still spent way more energy making that.
All right, so
than she
we
gets
raised
from
the
it.
kid to like 10. Like it's big enough where it's like a couple
Bro,
days.
do you think that the amount of work that you put in to raise a 10-year-old, like that's 10
How big
years
an-
of work? Do
how
you think
big
the
a fucking
caloric
island
Do you,
is
do you think
this?
the caloric intake is going to be
Is this like
better
King
after 10
Kong's
years?
Island, or is this
No,
like
like if anything, you're
like
going
a
to keep this
far
kid so that he
side,
can
like
fucking
deserted,
make
like
shit.
it's like a fucking spit of sand with one palm tree.
No,
and a
I-
coconut.
Yeah, I think
That's
we,
usually the
one
one I think
coconut a
of.
month.
no, I think we threw in the it's a castaway.
Yeah, it's like
size
a
island.
Okay.
Well,
Oh,
You
so
get-
I have a bunch of just unopened like FedEx boxes.
well,
too.
and also,
It's-
and also
like
random
your
surprises.
parameters are that you're given like a
Christmas.
2 by 2 mile radius island.
That's
So
a
they're
big motherfucker.
That is a big island. You can find some stuff in there.
Yeah, the Castaway Island was. It's. I think it was actually filmed in Fiji.
Bro, I don't
It's
even know.
It's not. I'm almost
You
positive.
know,
it
we need
was
to get
filmed
Tom
on the
Hanks
Fiji
on
island.
this podcast next.
Well, he's
that a
going to be
plug?
here next
Plug.
week.
Yeah, I'll
yeah,
get-
that's right.
I'll
So
call
you're
him
in
and-
contact with him?
I have been. He told me he's
Cool,
going to be
cool.
here.
So
we
Tom-
bumped
yeah.
Barack Obama so that Tom
Oh,
Hanks.
yeah.
Tom or
'cause
Mr.
we
Hanks,
couldn't-
we're looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm sorry,
Tune in.
Barack. I know we're on a first name basis. I really hate to bump you from
Well,
our
that's
show.
why it's
but-
cool. He knows.
Say hi to
Yeah,
Michelle for us.
Yeah.
Don't say hi to
I'm
me.
sure.
We're fighting.
Yeah, and we get this is a disaster.
I mean, I'm kind of bummed about bumping Barack, to be honest.
Well, I mean, we kind of had.
He's kind of a fun, like, I
No,
like
he's
watching
great, but we're
his
gonna see a lot of
interviews.
him. He's got that production company now. He's making a bunch of
Oh,
weird Netflix stuff.
that's
So
true.
like you're just gonna see nonstop
So,
Barack
like,
for the next couple of years.
Didn't he make Death, Sex, and Robots or whatever that?
Yeah,
one is called?
well, he did the death and sex part.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, no, I thought he did the robots part because of all the drone
I think
strikes.
He's
Bam.
he's the main like writer for The Expanse too.
Oh,
sure.
okay, right.
So
Anyway,
so before we close out for the evening, do we have a word of the day, Lauren?
oh man, I personally don't.
Defenestration.
Ooh, good.
Ooh,
I love this.
This is one of my favorite words.
Yeah,
It's
what
an absolute
just
amazing word.
The act of throwing someone out a window.
Yes.
defenestration.
Defenestration.
Defenestrate someone is to throw them through a window.
So we want to thank you guys tonight for being with us. It'll probably be tomorrow morning. This has been a great podcast. Joe Dacey, I want to thank you very much for being on here with us.
Anytime. I'll be here anytime the people ask me to be here. That's
The people aren't going to ask for
Oh,
shit. 'cause
then I'm
nobody
never coming
listens.
back.
Sam, I want to thank you and Sean, my co-host.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are fucking doing great jobs, and remember to not defenestrate anybody when you're in an argument with them.
I can't.
Can't promise.
This has
Guarantee
been
that.
Black Sheep and Bad Apples. We will call it a
Thank you.
night.
Good night.
Wah, 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 wah.
Pizza.